So we got the 1055 spoilers and another crazy chapter just like the previous, and there's quite a bit happening in this one as well, so let's just get right into it. Momonosuke stopped Yamato from intervening because he wants to save Wano by himself, and that is his duty. So yeah, we pretty much assumed that this was going to be the case. So in the previous chapter we saw Green Bull show up to Wano, and he was kind of like spitting his fascist celestial dragon rhetoric and wound up fighting against the Scabbards and Yamato. And shortly after, Momonosuke showed up and tried to fire a bolo breath, but it wound up just fizzling out. As we know, Momonosuke is still trying to figure out his abilities, but he still continued to fight against Green Bull and wound up getting like tangled in his vines. And when Yamato was going to help him, he said, "Yamato, you must not fight." And like I said at the time, we kind of assumed what he meant by that. He is the new Shogun of Wano after all, and you know, he is very prideful. Also guys, if you like my One Piece content, please subscribe if you haven't already. We might possibly get a full summary either tomorrow or the day after, and I'll be making a video on that as soon as we get it. So, you know, subscribe for that as well. Thanks. Momonosuke versus Green Bull. Momonosuke finally is able to use Bolo Breath. He uses it in a borderline situation, but we don't know if he has mastered it. With a single Bolo Breath, Momonosuke hurts Green Bull. He doesn't hurt him severely because Ryokuyu was prepared for a second round where he was going to fight seriously. Okay, so if you've been hearing about these spoilers being like divisive or causing controversy or whatever, this is pretty much the information that was causing that, because originally it was basically said that Momonosuke like seriously messed up Green Bull with this Bolo Breath, and it caused, you know, the age-old argument of Yonko v Admiral, and this obviously was giving more ammunition to the Yonkos being stronger than the Admirals and whatnot. But now we have more context here from Redon, and yeah, it didn't severely hurt him, but I mean it did hurt him nonetheless, and it's totally understandable because as we've recently found out, Green Bull has the forest Logia fruit, so makes sense that fire would be, you know, detrimental to him. But now we know it didn't like severely hurt him, and he was for sure ready for a round two where he was going to get serious. However, something happens and it stops him. But hey guys, real quick, GamerSupps Christmas in July sale has started today, and it's going to be running till the 31st. And one of the main things that I see here is that if you spend $35, you get a free Shark Girl cup. This is like a really good deal actually. So check out my link in the description, or you can just use code BIGZ. And while you're there, maybe pick up some strawberry lemonade GamerSupps or some peach tea. These are currently what I'm drinking, but they have other great flavors too. Thanks guys. Green Bull leaves after sensing the haki of the king of Shanks and realizing that the red hair pirates are nearby. So yeah, this is going to be the first mention we're hearing of Shanks releasing some haki and it being felt by other characters here. And this is kind of par the course for Marines and Shanks. It's like if Shanks is around and you're a Marine, you either just have to stop what you're doing or you just leave. So it's like, I get it. I didn't expect him to kind of just be like, oh, I'm ready to fight Shanks, because apparently no one is. But I don't think Green Bull is going to like completely leave Wano, because he's there to get Luffy. And it would kind of be weird if he was just like, oh, well, I guess I'm just leaving completely now because Shanks is here. I'm just going to abandon my mission. Even though I'm pretty sure we don't fully understand all of Green Bull's motives at this point, I still want to believe that there's like a secret aspect to him, one that's not so despicable as we've seen from him in the previous chapter. But also in the previous chapter we saw that Shanks and his crew were at the borders of Wano for some reason, and it hadn't been fully revealed why he was there yet, but he ultimately wound up saying to Ben Beckman that, I think it's time we make our move, let's claim the One Piece. And as for his Conqueror haki being felt here, I'll go more into that at the end of the chapter because it's going to be brought up again. Sukiyaki takes Robin and Law to the depths of ancient Wano, where the road Poneglyph is located. There he explains to them how the current Wano was built. Wano was a bigger island that got smaller due to sea level rise. Due to sea level rise is not quite correct, but I can't give more details for now. There is more lore from the Poneglyph and Robin's conversation with Sukiyaki. Okay, so finally, we're seeing where the road poneglyph on Wano is located, and Robin is there. So I guess we're going to get a rubbing of it. So now this means that the Straw Hats will have 3 of the 4 road poneglyphs. So they're 1 road poneglyph away from discovering where the One Piece is. AKA also it's going to reveal where Laugh-Tale is. Pretty much. But as for the 4th road poneglyph, we still don't know where that one is. It went missing from Fishman Island, so that's certainly going to be an element going forward after this arc for sure. But I wish I could talk about the more lore from the poneglyph and Robin's conversation with Sukiyaki, but Read-On is keeping that under wraps for now. Maybe we'll see more of it in the summary if we get one this week. But also huge information about Wano here. So apparently it was a bigger island that got smaller due to sea level rise. And the sea level rise is not quite accurate. So I'm assuming it has something to do with the Void Century. And during the Void Century, I assume that that's when the world was made the way that it is currently, with Emu manipulating the ocean and other things as well. But in my opinion, it's probably a manipulation of Uranus, which is probably the moon. Could be wrong about that, but just seems likely at this point. And also her own devil fruit powers, which she may or may not have, but if she does have a devil fruit, it's probably something to do with water manipulation. But most of us had assumed anyway that Wano was kind of built more so than just being natural, because if you look at it, it looks like it was put together. I mean, not just the island itself, but everything about it. It's kind of like in this enclosure. And we also assumed that within that enclosure, now that we found out that Pluton is there, Pluton's probably like in the middle part, most likely, right? The Straw Hat Gang continues with the party. The chapter ends with Luffy and other characters sensing Shanks's haki. Kid doesn't appear in the entire chapter. There are others who are with Luffy. They don't feel Shanks's ambition as such. They don't say, come on, it's Shanks. And they don't feel that ambition along Wano. So this is a bit difficult to understand, I guess, the way that it's written. But for the most part, I think it means that like they feel Conqueror Haki or just Haki has been released on a grand scale, but they don't necessarily know that it's Shanks. And it's more so Luffy, if anyone here, that feels it. And this goes back to what I wanted to talk about earlier when read that Green Bull had also felt this. And it's like, so why is Shanks releasing Haki here, or just Conqueror's Haki? We didn't see that he was in a fight or anything. So does that mean that he randomly got into one? Is he maybe running into the Marines that were with Green Bull possibly? Or is there like another threat out there? Or is this Shanks just simply being Shanks and he's kind of always emitting some kind of Conqueror's Haki or something? I don't think that's necessarily the case. There has to be a reason to this. I mean, if we go back to when we first saw Shanks kind of doing something like this, I think it was like chapter 434 when he meets up with Whitebeard, you know, with the iconic scene of him knocking out all of the lower level members of the Whitebeard crew just by being in their presence. I think it was Jozu who said, as always, his Haki power is overwhelming. And Shanks said to Whitebeard, you'll have to excuse me. I have trouble staying relaxed when I'm on an enemy ship. When I look at your face, it makes my scars ache. The scars that I got from him. Referring to Blackbeard, of course. But I don't know, maybe because he's at Wano shores, he's just like defensively releasing Haki just to be like, hey, don't mess with me. I'm just strolling through, but I will mess you up if you try to engage me. Not really sure, because it's Shanks, and Oda never really wants to give us any insight into him. He's kind of been playing this game of inches with him for like the last 22 years. But I really wouldn't be surprised if it kind of just ends here and we don't see Shanks again for like another 50 or 100 chapters or whatever. But yeah, let me know what you think about these spoilers in the comments, guys. And if you liked the video, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day and I'll see you in the next one.